our slogan is get the message out, and that is what we are going to continue to do today. I want to thank Towns, Union, Rabun counties GOPs for these video podcasts, especially thanks to Betsy Young, chair of the Towns County GOP, and Stephen Harper, the man behind the camera. I'm Dave Bubeck, the host, and I am here today with Darren Bear Osborn, candidate for Towns County Sheriff. Okay, so Bear, first question. How did you get the nickname Bear?
Well, a long time ago, I was elementary school here in Towns County. I graduated from Towns County High School in 1982, but the elementary school was located here in Hiawassee, where the Antique Mall is located now. Huddle House and all that. The Huddle House was actually the playground. And as you and everybody else can see, I'm rather large. And I was rather large when I was born in 1964. So the name, the kids called me Bear, and it stuck. I've been called Bear ever since. I don't mind it. People can call me Bear now. I have no problem with it.
All right. Well, it's a good name, and I just wanted to ask if it's all right to call you today, Bear.
Of course.
Okay, great. And all right, so the second question here is kind of a little bit about your professional background. Maybe, brief training, working with maybe, other agencies as far as cooperating, experience in those areas. And, of course, anything else you want to add?
Okay. Been in law enforcement over 33 years. Started here in Towns County. Okay. Towns Union Jail, to be exact, 1986. That's when the jail was Towns Union Jail. Towns and Union County shared a jail. During that time, I rode part-time for Towns County. Okay. And during that time, I went to school, starting in 1987 for the city of Hiawassee to become a mandated officer, and worked for the city of Hiawassee for right at 10 years. And during the time I worked for City of Hiawassee, I was appointed police chief for a couple of years. Okay. And from there I went to the City of Helen as assistant police chief and worked for those folks for a couple of years, and worked under the tutelage of Chief Ted Ray, who was a great mentor to me. I learned a lot from him. He was the longest serving police chief in the City of Helen. And I wanted to come home. Home is where the heart is, I always say.
I agree.
And anyway, I come back home and worked for the Towns County Sheriff's Office for about 4 years, and was a DARE officer here at Towns County School. And SRO, which I loved. I loved working with kids. Okay. And learned a lot. Okay. Learned a great deal working with kids. And from there, I went to work City of Baldwin and the City of Helen together. Worked both places. Part-time at City of Baldwin, and opportunity came along for me to become police chief, City of Baldwin. Okay. And that was a great opportunity. And I was police chief there for 8 years.
Okay.
And then I had the opportunity to come back to Towns County, or actually to Union County, which I thought was close to home.
Yes, sir.
Very close. Yes. So I came back to work for Sheriff Mac Mason, and Mac was a good friend of mine, has been for over 30 years. Great mentor of mine. Mm-hmm. He has entrusted me to be his spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office, Union County. Entrusted me to be over the property crimes. I help with the sex offenders. I help keep track of them. He's a kind of sheriff that...
Now watch yourself.
Yes, he's a character.
He's a character.
He's a character.
There's personalities and there's characters.
He's a character. Exactly. But he expects you to do your job.
Yes, he does.
And all you have to do is do your job, and you never hear nothing out of him.
That's
Now, he may pick the phone up and call you and ask you where you're at on this certain case or on this case, because he does keep up with the sheriff's office. He is at work every day. He is in uniform every day, and I admire that from the man.
Okay.
And that is where I get my knowledge of and my objectives of, that's the sheriff I'm going to be.
Okay.
And that's, you know, I admire him for that. And he has entrusted me to do things. Of course, he's not only entrusted me, he entrusted all the deputies.
Mm-hmm.
We have several deputies, and he puts us out there to go to work. And you can only be as good as the team that you surround yourself with.
That's true.
And evidently, he's surrounded himself with a great team, because he is in his third term, this term unopposed.
Good point. Good. And thanks for sharing some of the background. I didn't know. So you've been chief in a couple venues, and so do you see I'll call them transferable skills. It's kind of like a term meaning things you could use from being chief to being sheriff.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes.
Maybe we can just explain that a little bit.
Budgets.
Okay.
Management skills.
Okay.
I've had 120 hours of management training. I've had 120 hours of supervision training. Plus, when I was police chief, I really don't know how many hours of police chief with Georgia Police Chiefs Association. I honestly don't know how many hours of training I've had with the Georgia Police Chiefs Association of just management and supervision training, because it's required by those organizations, and you have to have it to retain your certification as a police chief.
Understood.
Same as Georgia Sheriff's Association.
Right.
You got to have it. And I've been taught by some of the best, because they bring people from out of the state of Georgia to train you. FBI, GBI, SBI, from other agencies, Homeland Security. One of the best trainings I do remember going to that was sponsored was when the Amish school shooting in Pennsylvania. And they brought the actual Pennsylvania State Patrol down.
Stadies, that's what they call them up there.
Stadies, okay. They brought those folks down that actually responded and taught that class. And, you know, I've still got the material at home. I look through it occasionally, and it was some great training.
Yeah,
I mean, you do not forget training like that.
No, you don't. And what happened there with a totally unarmed group of people?
Exactly.
It's a massacre.
And things like that is engraved in your mind.
Well, thanks for sharing that, because we wanted to hit the training and how it might relate to becoming sheriff in Towns County. So, good job on that. I'd want to bring up maybe at this point mutual aid agreements, things deputizing surrounding counties, if possible, maybe Hiawassee PD, which you mentioned that you had contact with. Even Young Harris College, again, since they are post-certified people there,
Right.
you know, and Georgia State Patrol would be more or less, let me start with that. Would you allow Georgia State Patrol into Towns County? I know sometimes I've heard, let me just ask that question. Would you allow GSP to patrol the highways there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, that's Georgia State Patrol. That's their given job, task.
Yes, sir.
Is to patrol Georgia roads, Georgia state roads.
Well, some sheriffs say, I don't want you in there,
And I understand that, but on the other hand, when you have a small agencies like Towns County,
Yes.
you need every bit of manpower you can have.
Well, there's two people on the shift, you know,
And
you've got, motor vehicle accident and then.
It takes two people to work traffic. You don't have nobody else covering the county.
Exactly.
And I'm going to work to improve that, of course. I've got a plan.
Okay.
And I've also, I have many friends that work for the Georgia State Patrol. retired and current friends. And I have spoke to all of them. I spoke to the post commander, the retired colonel, Mark McDonald, who just recently retired. I mean, I remember when he was a slick sleeve here in Blue Ridge.
Okay.
I know him.
From
And
day one.
Day one,
Yeah.
way back. And I have nothing but respect for Georgia State Patrol.
Okay, I mention them because, you see them on the highway more than you would say GBI and some of these others. And so as far as surrounding counties, and of course, I guess Towns County, we got Raven, Union to look at. I know you've got good contacts at Union. How about Raven and maybe White County? And I'm not forgetting to the north. I did the other day on the interview, but I know it's another state, and I don't know if the jurisdiction would allow, say, Clay County
Well,
to be part of.
let's work our way around.
Okay, please,
Okay,
please.
We'll start with White County.
Okay,
They're getting a new sheriff, just like
Yes.
Towns County.
yes.
I know every one of them
Okay.
that's running for sheriff.
Okay.
All but one. One of them is owns a towing company. I think his name's Jeff Ramey. I personally don't know him. Basically because he's not in law enforcement. That's not knocking him. He may come out and win. I don't know. I'm not keeping up with that election like I am.
Okay.
'Cause
Sure. It's a
I'm
lot to
keeping
keep
up
up.
with mine.
Understood.
Anyway, but I do know each and every one of the candidates over there.
Okay.
And I consider them all my friends.
Now you talk about White County.
White County.
Okay.
Talking about White County. I personally know each and every one of them. I've worked with them in some capacity over the years because I worked in White County.
Right.
At Helen Police Department.
Yeah, Helen's.
And
And you know about
I've sat in training with probably each and every one of them at some point in time.
Oktoberfest? Just kidding.
Oktoberfest.
That's a big thing down in Helen.
If you hadn't ever worked in Oktoberfest,
I know, I've been down there.
that
Not
is an
It
experience.
is.
I call that a leadership and crisis training.
Hazardous duty there.
That is. But anyway, then you got, let's move on over to
Sure.
Rayburn County.
Rayburn.
Chad Nichols, sheriff over there.
Okay.
He actually moved into the chief's position after I left Baldwin.
Okay.
And I knew him when he worked the road in Rayburn County when I was chief in Baldwin because we had the Appalachian Network, traffic network,
Okay.
Georgia Highway,
Do they still-
Governor's Highway Safety.
Yeah, the Governor's Highway Safety.
Yeah. We always had meetings and we were together and, knew him from that.
Okay.
And nice guy. He's doing a great job from what I understand. There's several people from Towns County working over there.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And
So-
I would love to get our home folks back to work
Okay.
because they're doing a good job over there.
Okay.
And, and that's another one of my goals. I would like to see people that's had to go away from home.
Right.
That's good deputies, good detention officers.
Yes.
That's working in other counties. That's one of my goals, to bring them home and go to work.
Okay. Glad you mentioned it. Okay.
And, but I think Chad's doing a great job. He's in his second term. He evidently is doing a good job. He's running unopposed.
Okay.
Usually when you see a sheriff going in and running unopposed, there's no problem.
There's no problems. I agree.
But again, you're not gonna make everybody happy.
Never.
You gotta remember that. It don't matter what position you hold in that county, whether it be sheriff, commissioner, tax commissioner, clerk of court,
Right.
magistrate judge, whatever.
Yeah.
You cannot make everybody happy.
No.
But the general consensus says he's doing a pretty good job.
Okay.
Then we'll rotate over to Clay County,
Clay County, North Carolina.
North Carolina. When I worked over here, worked very, very closely with Clay County.
Okay.
And I still have since I went to work in Union County. Due to the fact criminals don't know where the state lines are when they're breaking the laws.
Some think if they cross it, they're home
Some think
free.
if they cross it, they're home free. Well, that just ups their charges up a little bit, and we got to work just a little bit harder. I've went into Clay County with their assistants and arrested people.
Okay.
Rapists, burglars, anything. I mean,
So you called ahead, went in and
we call ahead,
stop it.
get our
Detain.
so-called proverbial ducks in a row,
Okay.
and go do what we have to do. Got a real good working relationship with the sheriff over there now,
Okay.
because I've known him for a while. And his investigators are all good friends of mine. And then we move over to Cherokee County.
Yeah, that's
Which
true. Just a little.
It touches Union County. We work with them quite a bit, and got a good working relationship with them and their investigators. We're probably on the phone with them 2 or 3 times a week,
Didn't know that. Okay. So,
dealing with those issues.
of course, that touches Union, not towns, but still,
Yes, but
yeah,
you still
part of
have-
that. It's not far.
It's not far,
It isn't.
and you still have to deal with it. And then I'll even work my way back around to Fannin County,
Okay.
even though it does not touch it.
Okay, we hadn't mentioned that, but you're right.
It's still,
Conceivable.
you've got Highway 76
Yes.
coming out of Atlanta, the
Right.
4 lane, which is a main line of drug traffic.
Yes. If you're going to have it, that's the way it's going to.
That's the way it's coming through here. And we work with Union County, we work terrific with Sheriff Kirby over there.
Okay.
And
You mentioned that.
his investigators, I know them personally, know Sheriff Kirby personally, former state patrol.
Okay.
I mean, we've got good working relationships with all of them.
Yes.
And that's what it takes to solve crimes and to keep it going.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line. You cannot, I'll just say this, you can't be the Lone Ranger and get it done.
Not any no more. I mean, there's no. And again, I disclosed this the other day, but in case somebody hadn't heard that podcast, I think one of the reasons I got picked, I'm living in Union County,
Mm-hmm.
and as you know,
Right.
and
I've been to your house.
that's right, on a call,
On a call.
not domestic or anything, nothing I did. No, but so the point is, you know, I can't vote in Towns County. I don't have any agenda, and you know, or you know, but yeah, I mentioned where we live, as you know, I won't say where, but right there on the line,
Mm-hmm.
we could throw a stone at Towns County. So what happens in Towns County absolutely affects other
Affects
towns.
you.
And people say, well, how come you're concerned about who's sheriff over there? Because it matters.
affects.
It matters all of us. It affects all of us. So
Yeah.
thanks for mentioning all that. Anything else? I know Union, you're pretty close, so there's no.
Oh, yeah, I mean, great, I'll have a great working relationship with the Union.
Yes.
Great support from Sheriff Mason.
Okay.
I mean, when I'm the spokesperson for him and he trusts you.
Yeah, you mentioned.
I can put
Okay.
that out there.
So we hit everything around that.
Yeah.
Surrounding counties. We touched upon GSP, Hiawassee PD, GBI.
And let me
Sure,
go back
feel
to
free.
Hiawassee PD.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Young Harris PD.
Yes.
When elected, I want to go ahead and swear in those officers
Okay.
as deputy sheriffs.
Deputizing.
And that's not for them to run up and down the roads and start making traffic stops and
I
all
understand.
over the top of the county, everywhere in the county. That's for them, when we get in a bind and we need assistance,
Right.
they can go and they can legally assist deputies in emergency situations, and there won't be no liabilities.
Right.
And,
It's.
you know, you can sign all these MOUs you want to,
Mhm.
but, you know, it's just a signature on the paper, and state law, we're covered anyway under state law
Yes.
for mutual aid contracts.
You are.
That's
But
a given. But when when the sheriff gets them to raise their right hand
Right.
and swear, you're covered. I mean, and that's one of the best things that's happened in Union County, I think.
I admired Mac Mason, Sheriff Mason, for doing that. Yeah, let's see. Now, again, the personal life stuff, do you want to address that a little bit maybe, and maybe why you want to be sheriff, just, briefly, of Towns County? So maybe start with that.
Well, I grew up here. My wife, Melissa, grew up here. She grew up in the Young Harris area, Gumlog, that area. Her folks were born and raised over there. My folks were born and raised here in the Hiawassee area.
Right.
My family actually moved here in 1835.
Wow. Before the Civil War, long
before the Civil War.
Yeah. 25 years.
I had family fight the Civil War, both on the north and south. So
that's how it was, brother against brother.
That's how it was back then. And as a friend of mine calls it, the Uncivil War, and that's basically what it was.
It was.
And but I have family everywhere here in Towns County, and I was raised to do right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way my parents raised me. As I tell people, I was raised with a belt, the sound of a belt coming out of the belt loops. So.
Can't do that today, but I agree with it. I think that's
the best raising you can have. But I was raised in a good Christian home. I was saved by Jesus Christ when I was 12 years old. I'll never forget it. I mean, that sinks in my mind, still does. And that's what I live for. And I just feel like running for sheriff. I remember the day and the night the phone rang when Sheriff J. Chastain got shot and killed. I'll never forget that. I was 10 years old.
Wow.
I remember that. My dad and him were good friends. And I remember the phone ringing at the house that night. That's a sad time. I remember going to the funeral home. I mean, things like that stick in your head. You never forget that. And as one of my teachers told me not long ago, because I saw him, he says, "You always wanted to be a police officer." And now, whether it was destined for me to be a sheriff or not, we'll find out. But I've always wanted to be in this business. And I want to do what's right. I want to do what's right for the county. And I love the county. I love the people in it. I just, and it don't matter if I'm here or in Union County. Everybody deserves to be treated right.
Yes.
Be treated fairly. And that's why I'm in law enforcement, and I believe in that.
Good reason. Trust and treating everybody the same.
Yeah.
So, anything hobby-wise or anything? I never really get too much into it, but just maybe a little.
Yeah, hobbies. I love to garden.
Okay. Yeah, we've got one going too now. It's a country garden.
I've always, of course, I was raised to garden.
Yes.
That's what we lived off of when growing up. That was your main source of food here. Was garden and raising beef and raising hogs. And that was our main source of food.
No chicken?
And chickens.
Oh, okay.
My dad worked chicken farms, and so we had plenty of chickens. Yeah. We really didn't have to raise them. We got what was culled out of the chicken farms. Right. But anyway, he taught me how to garden. I've taught my son how to garden. My daughter, you can't get her close to a garden. She's actually a doctor in physical therapy. So
well, that's something to be proud of. Doctor.
I'm proud of her. She's the first person in our family that actually graduated with a college degree. So very proud of her.
Do you mind sharing where she went? Did she go to?
She went to University of North Georgia. for 4 years, and then transferred to Western Carolina and got her doctorate. So
Oh, that is something to be proud of.
yeah, and but I'm proud of my son. He's working toward his goals too. He's got his business degree now. He's gonna get his history degree. He loves history.
Yep.
I love history. Talking about hobbies, I love history.
Okay.
Towns County Historical Society, we're both members, and
Yeah.
I love to trace family history and things like that. And but I love to garden. We still grow and can our own food for the winter.
Well, and we're lucky to have a cannery here. That's
Yeah.
something else I want to mention along those lines.
And we don't use the cannery here. We do it at home.
At home, okay.
You know, just the way we were raised. And camping, we like to go camping a couple of times a year, and it's about the only time I have time to go is a couple of times. Stay so busy at work.
Yes.
And I dabble a little in farming, cattle and stuff still,
Okay.
but nothing major.
But if there's a shortage, I'll know where to buy stuff. Now, again, it's just something that I appreciate you sharing because
I'm not much of a traveler. A lot of people like to travel.
Yeah.
I just soon stay home.
No, you don't have time.
I don't. I really don't.
Under the personal, I think you mentioned. Again, I call barking dogs because in court that's what we call them. Put the barking dogs out there.
Right.
And you had one barking dog. You want a rumor that you want to
Yeah.
address, and I want you to feel free to go ahead and.
Right. There's a lot of barking dogs rumors going around that I'm going to hire family members
Okay.
of mine, and that is absolutely untrue.
Okay. So you, as you sit here today, you say you would not.
I will not.
Okay.
And I'm not throwing my family members under the bus in no way, shape, form, or fashion. You know, I love my family members, but some of them's made mistakes, and they've paid for their mistakes. But with that being said, I do not think me or any other sheriff would be able to hire their family members and truthfully be able to supervise them in a fair and impartial way.
So I appreciate you mentioning that.
And I wanted to get that out, and I figured this was the best venue to get it out. And I just don't think it's right.
Understood. Well, that's good. And okay, you mentioned a few things there. I think I touched upon this, but I'm going to ask you again. What is the most important skill of being a sheriff? You know, like as far as accessibility, that sort of thing, or anything you want to add to that?
Well, accessibility. I've said this from day one. When I announced my candidacy back in October of last year, a working sheriff. I'm going to be a working sheriff. My dad worked a public job till he was 84-year-old. So
wow,
I've got it in my genetics.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
I like to work. I do not like to sit around.
Yes.
And I like to be out and be going. And also, if I get paid to do a job, I'm going to do a job. And I'm going to be in uniform. And I also feel like a sheriff. I'm the county sheriff.
Okay.
You know, even yours, Dave. You live right on the county line. You may have a problem from people from Towns County.
Yes.
I have to be your sheriff too.
Well, we appreciate that.
I can't say it's Mac's problem. Call him.
Right.
You know, I talked to a person the other day. He said, "Well, I'm just a part-time resident here. I don't vote." Okay, but you're still a resident here. And he was floored that I actually said that.
Was he?
And I'm like, you still live here. Your property is still accessible to crime.
Right.
do you pay property taxes here? Yes, I do. And I says, well, you're doing more than some of our own candidates that's running for sheriff do. You know, I says, a couple of them don't even pay property taxes.
Okay.
And, I says, I will provide you safety and security like I will anybody else.
Certainly.
And, that's what I wanna, that's me.
Right.
You know, that's the part of treating everybody fairly and impartial. And I'll be driving a marked patrol unit.
Like Mac. He's
Right
out.
now,
Yep.
he's out every day.
He is.
And I'll have a radar in my unit.
Okay. I'll slow down when I see you if you're sure.
And I'll tell you, as I go to work every morning, because I'm in an unmarked patrol unit, going to work every day because I'm an investigator. And people blow you off the road around here.
They do.
And even in Union County.
Yes.
I mean, we catch them all the time running high speeds. And my phone number will be made available, and I'm going to make it available today to anybody that wants it.
Okay.
Day or night, you can call me.
Feel free to, at any point, give it out.
I'll give it out now. It's 706-970-1209.
Okay.
And if Stephen wants to put it up on the screen, he can. I have no problem
I think
with
he
that.
can. Yes, he can.
Because I'll be available. That's part of being a sheriff.
Yeah. But don't call him at night unless it's very, 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 very.
And don't call me for your toe stuck or something.
Exactly.
Call EMS. I don't care.
Call 911. Doctors say that. If there's an emergency, call 911, right?
If you really got a problem, I'll help you in any way. And people have called me already. You know, I've got this problem. I've got this problem, and I've actually helped them. I have steered them in the right direction.
Okay.
You know, nothing that I've actually done that's illegal, but
No. But
you need
as a layperson.
Yeah, as a layperson, I thought, well, you can do this, and you can do that, but.
Well, let's get excited. Let's wake ourselves up here. We're going to get into some stuff.
Now,
this is total hypothetical. I did ask the other candidate the other day the same questions.
Okay.
And this one has to do with executive orders from a governor. Now, I'm not saying that our Governor Brian Kemp would do this. In fact, I don't think he would, but I can't opine. So I'm just going to say this is hypothetical. How would you handle an executive order from a governor that you feel is unconstitutional? And keep in mind that maybe Governor Kemp won't be there in 2 years, and if you're sheriff, that would go beyond that. Or let's say Stacey Abrams had been our governor, it could have been different. So just hypothetically, it might violate. I'm going to give you some examples. Of course, the Second Amendment. I think we all feel the same way there, but I want you to address it so we know. Right to bear arms is under that, of course. Fourth Amendment, which is unlawful search and seizures. We're seeing some of this with COVID on things of turning people's water off. These are people that own businesses in some other states now, not here. Seizure without probable cause, due process, that sort of thing.
Right. Listen, the first 10 constitutional rights founded by our founding fathers were based to protect us as citizens. That's what they were founded for. 1 through 10. Of course, number 1, freedom of speech.
And religion.
And as we know what's going on in Atlanta,
Yes.
as we speak,
Probably, yes.
it was still going on this morning.
Does it?
That's freedom of speech. Has it gotten out of hand? Yes. Should it be addressed? Yes.
Okay.
But they still have a right to do that
Peacefully.
peacefully.
That's a big word, though.
But it should be addressed because it got out of hand.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay.
All right. You see where I'm at?
I do.
Now, do I think that will ever happen here in Hiawassee? I hope and pray not.
Me too.
I hope and pray not.
Yeah.
Our Second Amendment, if we ever have a governor that comes in here and writes red flag laws,
Mm-hmm.
I will not enforce red flag laws.
Okay.
I was actually the first candidate to come out in this election and said that I will support Towns County being a sanctuary county.
Oh, thanks for mentioning that.
It's on my website. I come out with it, and I'll still stand beside it.
Okay.
I was raised as a kid to go squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting with a gun. I still have one of the guns my dad gave me. Of course, after he passed away, we sort of split them up with everybody to be
Sure.
fair. And it's just, I believe we have a right to bear arms. Now, I believe you need to be trained to properly use those weapons. I really do.
And most people are.
And most people are. I hardly ever run into anybody that's not properly trained to use those guns.
Right.
And everybody says that there's not enough gun laws on the books. There's plenty of gun laws on the books.
Correct.
They are. We don't need no more gun laws. I truly believe there's plenty. We got plenty of background checks to go through.
Right.
Probably too many, in my opinion. I feel like we're in good shape on all that.
We are right now.
But again, I will not enforce as a sheriff
Okay, appreciate it.
anything. Actually, I'll put it in a shredder and shred it.
Okay.
Now, I keep up with New Mexico. I have family that lives in New Mexico. And they are going around. The governor has ordered cease
Seizure.
to go cease your business, seizing guns
Yes.
and everything.
Yes.
And state police is going and doing it.
Many states they are.
And
Trying.
she has told the sheriffs out there they either have to do it or they're going to have to resign. Well, there's a group of sheriffs that have told her, well, this New Mexico, they've told her where she can get off the wagon at, I guess you could say.
Good way to put it.
And, but that's my take on that.
Appreciate you. And there's a lot of people who want that question asked.
Yeah,
as you know, there's huge movement there on Facebook. I mean,
Right.
Second Amendment Sanctuary City group. It's huge.
I carry all the time.
Yes. I'll be real nice to knowing that.
Just read.
Okay. Of course, you got cowboy boots. You can always kick me under the table for some I deserve. Okay, so we hit all that. Good. Now I want to get to school safety because that is something you had mentioned there a little bit with SRO. And anyway, let's ask a question first. So the plan for school safety focus on maybe the high schools in Towns County, maybe even active shooter drills that you guys might be involved in.
Okay, active shooter drills. That's big for me. We, of course, do them in Union County.
Yes.
They have their own police department now. And I've actually talked to the police chief over there.
Okay.
And he is willing to come help me.
Okay.
Put active shooter drills on, and they are highly trained because they are all SWAT team members and they have all the equipment. It will not, because here's the deal. A small agency like we have,
In Union now you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
but a small agency like we have in towns,
Same thing, right?
same thing. We do not have enough members to form a proper SWAT team.
I figured that, but
I mean, you know
Yes,
the business.
Yes,
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to call help,
yes.
bottom line. But if we do have an active shooter in Towns County, you're still gonna have to go straight to it.
Yes,
What you got here,
what you have,
what you got here.
and respond. Now,
And
remember in
respond.
Florida, they did not respond. There was at least one officer down there, if I remember right. I won't say the county. In Florida,
Right.
and then with their active shooter going on, people screaming, yelling.
He
And he
hid
would-
behind a car.
Yeah,
I won't
It does
hide
happen.
behind a car, and none of my deputies will, and if they do, God forbid.
okay. So,
But you go, honestly, you go in and eliminate the problem.
neutralize.
Yep.
So,
But we're going to train with teachers,
okay.
and we're going to figure out, what's the best route. And not only that, we're going to train with the fire department. We're going to train with the EMS. We're going to train with the 911 center.
It all has to be coordinated.
Everything has to be
Quick-
coordinated.
quickly. Yeah.
And because when that one call comes in, I don't want everybody looking at each other going, what do we do next?
Well, you get diffusion of responsibility,
Mhm.
if you don't have a
Yeah.
plan, so.
He should have done that. He
Right.
should have done that. She should have done that. She should have done, everybody should be on the same page.
So you'll have training for that and
Yeah.
and you believe,
And 911 center is actually the nucleus of it all.
yeah. Now, and of course, a lot of times lately, I know they're using the 1021 cell phones. Help me here, because I know there's a little difference between Union County. We might get into this a little bit. You're very familiar with Union County. With the knowledge I have vicariously, what that means from other friends, like John George and people.
Right.
Okay. Friends of mine. I don't want to put Towns County down, but I want to say, is there anything you see that you could make available to Towns County that maybe Union, from your knowledge, has that they don't have along communication lines? Like MDT, is there an MDT in the cars in mobile data terminal?
They don't have that in Towns County cars.
I didn't think so, but I wanted to.
And that will be addressed,
Okay,
because I think it's needed, definitely needed.
otherwise you're going through a dispatch. I
Yeah.
want to try to educate maybe somebody.
Mhm.
Otherwise you gotta
You gotta wait.
rate.
And another thing is, let me 1021 you, give
Yes.
me a call.
Call.
Let me wait on a phone call. Can you call me? I want to eliminate that.
It's burdensome. Let's say it's time consuming too, when time is of the essence.
And we'll go back to the old days.
Yeah.
You didn't have that
It's
luxury of cell phones.
right.
And what are they to hide by calling people?
Hadn't thought about that, but the other thing I will say, with my phone, which is AT&T, and I hear Verizon, same thing, there's areas we don't have coverage.
Exactly.
Well, that's,
But, if somebody calls in, well, I don't want it on the radio. Sometimes you just gotta put it on the radio.
You do.
And you use your codes.
yes,
Go back to using your 10 codes and don't worry about plain talk, as they call it. Go back to your 10 codes and get it to work. And time is of the essence.
yes.
And working with telephone calls and
Well, communication is probably the most important
Yeah.
thing. I had a friend that was in a hurricane Andrew down in Florida. He was with Miami-Dade, and he said, I'd rather have communication, my radio, which he had when it hit, than a Glock or his gun, his service
Exactly.
gun. He
Yeah.
said, because I'm not shooting people, but I need to communicate.
Yep.
And
Remember again, the sheriff is not over the 911 center.
no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not over
Okay,
it.
thanks I didn't.
We're just, that's just part of the county. The county's over it.
Okay. Would that
And,
go through the commissioner?
Yep, and they have a director. But if you work with them and try to
Sure.
work with them at a, just sit down and talk to them.
Okay.
Say, could this not work a little better? Could we not do this? What's your ideas on that? Work together.
Okay.
That's what this game's all about.
I mean, I didn't want to get into it too much, but that's
Yeah.
very important in a drill like that,
Yeah.
because people think that it just comes together without communicating.
I don't want to go in and
It doesn't.
say, hey, we're going to do it this way, whether you like it or
Sure.
not.
'Cause
No.
it may not work that way.
I'm not doing that. I'm going to go in and say, hey, this is what I'd like to see done.
Mhm.
Could we work together to see this done?
Start with A and have a backup
Yeah.
plan. Okay.
Let's see what we can do
Okay.
to better serve the citizens.
Yes. Well, and our schools are
And our schools,
something that need to be protected.
and-
For granted.
I'm going to make sure that there's a SRO at the schools all the time, because I know there's, we got one great SRO officer, and he's just top of the line. Couldn't beat him.
We need them, and I'll tell you, that's very important. When we went to grade school and high school, we didn't need it, okay? We
Oh,
used to
yeah.
have guys would pick up trucks with a gun.
We were the SRO.
But nobody, that's right. Maybe that is a good way to leave it there. But yeah, you're right. And so would you like to, okay. I mentioned this, vests, and you probably already have it in Union. I don't know if there's any, I'm sure there are in towns, body cams. I don't even know if we have them in Union. Again, there's pros and cons. I'm not trying to weigh in on which one, I'm not trying to say we need them or don't need them. What's your feeling there as far as, let's start with body cams.
I feel like they're needed. Towns County has them.
Okay. Does Union?
No.
I mean, I hope you don't mind sharing. Okay,
No.
so a lot of times there's pros and cons is all I'm saying.
And I think more or less in Union it's a money issue, because
Okay.
we got so many
Okay, yeah.
that we'd have to have.
Yeah, I understand.
And I think it comes in more of a money issue.
So some have it, some don't.
And a lot of people don't like them. When I was chief at Baldwin, we bought them, and a lot of the officers did not like them because, well, it shows what I say. Yeah, it does.
And
And that's what I like about them. And I said, when you get a complaint on you, I can pull that body cam and I can find out it either, you're wrong or you're right. And I'm gonna say 99% of the time, the officer was in the right.
what happens when somebody else videotapes, and that happens a lot, and you see it on,
Yeah.
everywhere. It either gets cut, you only see part of it, and you don't have any way to defend yourself. So, okay.
I
So you're
I
for
like them.
body, okay, thank you. I didn't get,
I just want, I think everybody should have them.
well, I think vests is something everybody
Oh,
should
yeah,
have.
everybody needs
Everybody
a
should have,
vest.
yeah. And they go bad. I just realized that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Got buddies,
They wear out.
they wear out
And
after
you have to,
sweating.
there's an expiration date on, I think 5 or 7 years.
I think 5 for most of them,
Don't
yeah.
quote me on
Because you're
that.
sweating a lot. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's, okay. And equipment, again, I know we have different funding for that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's something that would have to be worked out on a county level in Towns County.
Right.
Because apparently some things
Yeah.
then they don't have. That
Right.
they might, especially,
And I've noticed, a lot of vehicles, that's gonna have to be something that's gonna have to worked out on the funding on a year-to-year basis to replace vehicles, to keep them updated.
like the old Crown Vics we see.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that. I mean, you can't go out and buy all of them at one time. That's ridiculous, because your budget's taking a big hit. And you gotta get into a rotating system.
You do.
I mean, that's just common sense.
But going forward, the areas here are growing
Yeah.
exponentially. I mean, they're
Yeah.
growing like a hockey curve, and it's,
And I'm gonna throw this out there, so, as I say, somebody else can pick up on it and run with it if they want to, because I'm sure they will. But, buying these Chargers and Crown Vics and, regular cars just don't make sense to me, because we're living in a mountainous area. We need the all-wheel or four-wheel drive,
yes, you do.
Dodge Durangos, Ford Explorers, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
It just makes better sense.
Well, the new ones are going to all-wheel drive or
Yeah.
four-wheel drive, like you said. Even the Tahoes have four-wheel drive.
Right,
So, and some of the Chargers do. So
right.
we need those. The two-wheel drive, put them
Well-
out of commission if there's snow.
The Chargers are slow on the ground.
Yes.
Some of these
They're plowed.
places we have to go to.
Yes. But be mindful, and that's something that a lot of times people
You
aren't.
just gotta look at it and weigh the situation out, and, in the long run, it's money well spent. You gotta be,
It is,
you gotta be wise with how you spend your money.
yes. Just the maintenance on the old cars. Well, let's jump to the last question here. I think we're doing pretty good here, time-wise and everything. What is the most important message you would like to get out? I think we pretty much hit a lot of that. Is there anything else, though? Let's just leave it open. Anything else you'd like to bring up?
The biggest thing I wanna bring up, I've touched on visibility.
Okay.
I've touched on, I want to be fair and honest, integrity. The definition of integrity is doing something right even when nobody's looking.
Right.
And, but trust.
Trust is the key. Okay, that's the word then.
Trust is the key to leadership. And Colin Powell is actually the one that I picked that up from watching a video from him. And that just stuck to me and has sunk into my heart, and trust.
Yeah.
We've got to get trust and respectability back to our sheriff's office. And that's what I'm going to try my best to do.
Great. Well, I guess then, as they say, we can go 10-7. We can.
10-7.
Yeah.
As they used to say back in the old days, 10-7 Blue Ridge.
Yeah. Out of service. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Darren Bear Osborn.
I want to leave one last thing.
Please.
Graduates of Towns County, Union County, the surrounding counties, congratulations.
Oh.
I mean, this has been a tough year
It's
for
been a
them.
very unusual year, historic year.
Historic year. I want to congratulate them in public. This is a good venue to do it.
Sure is.
Thank them for all their hard work. Again, they are our future, and I think we're in good hands.
Well, I appreciate that. And with that, we'll say,
With that, I'm good.
okay, thank you. My stomach's rattling.
You're hungry.